It's the last day of 2020, and here's the last Megacan of the year, in which Megan and Konrad crack open the Captain Morgans and the Johnnie and Gingers one more time and hurtle headlong through a year of upheaval and calamity. Never has the phrase Happy New Year been so pregnant with meaning. Auld Lang Syne indeed.
Hello everybody, it's another episode of Megan's Megacan, the final episode of 2020. I'm Megan, I'm here with Expert Learner Magazine and Konrad Werner.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm very excited. Finally got to the end of the year, done the last article that I'm going to write in 2020.
Yay.
So I'm feeling relaxed and yet energetic.
That's excellent. I started having some slight 2021 anxiety today because I think everyone's just been like, this fucking year, get it away from us. And now I'm just like, what if it just all keeps going?
Yeah.
What if this is just life now?
Because, obviously, politics and events don't really notice when it's just a different number at the end of the year. Things will just keep carrying on.
Right. Well, on that... I really meant to start on a positive because we're going to do a slightly different format today.
Yeah.
And we're going to attempt to round up a year of Megan's Megacan. I'm going to do it in quiz format. I have been looking back over things that we've covered and I'm going to quiz you on them.
Great.
And we can talk about them a little bit, but we're going to go fast.
And I don't know any of these.
Quite a lot has happened.
We've got to whip through this.
It's a whistle-stop tour.
Okay.
Let's go through 2020 the way we all wish we could have, at high speed, not going into too much depth.
Too deep into our souls.
And absolutely, the worst highlights reel you've ever seen. Okay. So, before we start, as always, let's drink!
Yeah.
So I actually took a request from you today, as we were walking past your spatey, and you've got your old favourite.
Excellent.
Johnnie and Ginger.
Lovely.
Thank
you very much.
Happy Christmas or New Year or whatever. Sorry, I've got a pen. I don't usually have a pen and I'm fiddling with it.
Yeah, you got all notes and everything.
I have,
You've been written things down this time.
I've got a Captain Morgan Caribbean white rum mojito because as I was skimming and scanning through the episode that I had this in November, I don't think I've ever been so excited. So I kind of want to revisit it to see whether I was just mad. Yeah. Because it was November and I was so tired.
So
anyway,
just checking. All right.
Just checking.
Cheers.
Also, it's festive. It's a cocktail. Not a very wintry cocktail, to be fair.
Yeah, that is still Johnnie and Ginger.
The first schluck is not great. Second schluck is good. That's good. That's delicious. Do you know, I would just like to say one thing before we begin.
Okay.
Something I think about literally every day. Why there's no festive edition Megacans?
Yeah, we've.
They have more summery ones. Have I talked about this before? I literally talk about it to everybody, so I'm sorry.
They have Christmassy beers. Some breweries do a special Christmassy beer.
Yeah, everyone does festive edition everything.
It's got cinnamon in it and whatever, cloves.
It's a cash cow Christmas.
But they just stick to their tried and tested. They don't experiment.
They're not
much.
even that good at what they do. It's not like they're we're traditionalists. We're not going to fanny about with things. They're crap in a tin, basically. Put some holly leaves on that. Whap a bit of cinnamon in.
What would be your Christmassy?
I think you'd have to go a gingery thing. I mean, you could go super gross.
Like fizzy Glühwein.
Yeah, the Jack Daniel berries is basically that. But no, I think a nice, a hot whiskey kind of flavour.
A grog.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not my job to come up with these things. I'm doing enough for the Megacan industry, frankly.
Pull your fingers out. Okay, go on.
Okay,
let's get
right.
going.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Hang on, I need to find a place for my
For the first time, I'm not going to be looking at my laptop. I've got my browser closed so that I can't cheat.
Okay, good. We're going to go through each month, and for each month there's a variety of questions. Some there just seems to be a lot more stuff that happened or funny quotations that I found.
Okay.
So the questions I'm going to ask you are mainly related to quotes, kind of like a "have I got news for you" type thing. And the quotes are roughly in 3 categories. 1, who said it and why.
Okay.
2,
Okay.
fill in the gaps.
Oh, yeah.
And 3, hindsight is always 2020.
That's round 3. Oh, good. Ah, clever.
Yeah.
Very good.
I thought of that in the shower today and I was like, yes, I'm a genius. So yeah, that's basically like I'll say a quote and we'll laugh at it and then we'll talk about why it's funny in hindsight. It'll be very obvious.
Okay. Okay, good.
The first one, this is from our first episode in January.
Yeah.
This is a quote from me.
Innocent times.
2020 started with me in an episode sitting here with you like this, absolutely dosed with the most disgusting cold I have ever heard.
Oh, yeah.
Can you imagine me doing that now? Like how wildly socially inappropriate that would be.
I know, yeah.
I was like coughing and yes. Another thing we talked about in January, which is kind of relevant now because there's a lot of talk about the Boulevard.
Right.
But what happened with fireworks and Kunevitz?
Oh, yeah. The left-wing radicals.
See, this is why it's much more fun when we quiz it this way around. Because otherwise it's just you answering the questions and then me going, huh?
Konevitz. I remember I had to go there the next day after it happened. And they some left-wing radicals, because they have a little community there.
Kunevitz is in Leipzig, yeah?
Oh, yeah, it's a district of Leipzig. They did something with a shopping trolley. They set fire to a shopping trolley and pushed it towards some policemen. Is that true?
I think, well, we don't know because this was the kind of thing of like whether the police had then lied.
Oh, yeah.
They tweeted there's been a serious injury and someone's had to be operated.
Yeah,
and
I remember
was a
that.
bit controversial.
Yeah, they said 5 policemen have been seriously injured, and then it was just like 1 policeman had a slight nick.
Yeah. I've chosen things for January that sort of set us up with various themes.
And it was controversial, and also because I went there and I had to, and I because it was my job, I had to take pictures of the aftermath. And as I was taking picture, a local Konevitzer came up to me and said, and sent me away in no uncertain terms.
Yes. Also in January, why were we talking about street names? And a few times, I think, throughout the year.
Oh, because of the colonial connections of the streets in certain parts of Berlin to decide what the street names were going to be, which is why it took so long. So there's like a big committee had to say, well, it's fine, we're going to change it from this, it was some big colonialist.
Bad lads. I can't remember his name, but he was a dick.
Yeah.
I read
and
it
then they were all
Wikipedia.
like...
I was not impressed.
Yeah. And then they were like, well, but what we're going to change it to? And then that was like a complicated discussion.
God, I can just imagine having been in meetings like, oh God. Okay, so that's how we started our year.
Right.
It was quite sort of prophetic in a way.
Yeah.
Me being ill, thinking 2020 was something to be excited about. Police possibly being dicks. And racism.
And racism.
Hey. Okay, February. Who said this? And I will give you a clue. I'm going to say it in English, but they probably originally said it auf Deutsch. That such and such an event was unforgivable and a bad day for democracy. This is quite a hard one.
This is in February? Mm-hmm. Because I would have guessed it was going to be the Reichstag thing, but that was much later. Not that, you know.
We've had several terrible days for democracy, but this one was the first one.
So it's it's not the storming of the Bundestag by the Querdenker.
That's later. I'm not even sure if I mentioned that. That's not even made it into the list of horrors.
Oh, bad day for democracy in Germany.
Yeah, in a specific Bundesland, not too far away from where we are now. Doesn't pre-corona news just seem like such an innocent time?
Oh, I really don't know. In Brandenburg?
Nope.
In Berlin?
Nope.
In Saxony?
Nope.
In Thüringen?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. The FDP
yes
formed a brief alliance with the AfD to vote in their favourite candidate to be the next Ministerpräsident of Thüringen.
Yes.
I've forgotten his name.
Kemmerich,
yeah. Thomas Kemmerich?
Thomas Kemmerich.
And it was like everyone, this is a taboo. It's breaking a taboo for the CDU and the FDP to vote along with the AfD to get their candidate. And there was a famous photo of Kemmerich shaking hands with the AfD leader in Thüringen, who is Björn Höcke.
Yes, who I really hate. Like, we don't even have time to go into how much I think he's an ass.
Yeah.
Because he used to be a teacher. I think we should
that was a big scandal. That was huge.
That was a big scandal. Who was it was that the one where a female politician whose name I've forgotten, she like threw flowers at Kemmerich's feet?
Yeah.
In the Bundestag.
Yeah, she was probably like, the Linke, one of the Linke.
Yeah, I think so.
MPs that she like cast. She
Whatever
cast them down at his feet,
anyway.
and yeah, I remember that. People were really upset about that.
But he didn't last long. And
he lasted
then,
like less than a week.
Good.
And then the old guy came back.
I always just want to call him Bodolo Ramelow, but that can't possibly be his name.
It's just Bodo Ramelow.
Bodolo Ramelow. We like him. I don't know why. Probably because it's his name. Who else didn't last long in a political leadership role? Came to an end in Feb.
Oh, Annegret Kramp-Karrenbauer.
Annegret Kramp-Karrenbauer, who I will forever be annoyed with for making me learn her name for such a pointless length of time. It took me like 3 podcasts.
Yeah, everyone thought she was going to be the next chancellor, and then no. She had to give up her leadership of the CDU. Because
of a scandal, or how would you summarise why that happened?
Oh, why was it? There was a specific reason, wasn't there?
No, I don't think so.
I thought it was just because the CDU were doing so badly.
I think so, and she just wasn't. So part of this whole like Kemmerich thing was like they basically were slightly losing control of the CDU. And then she was just like, she couldn't get her house in order.
Maybe it was maybe because of Kemmerich thing.
Patriarchy, really.
Right, yeah, and so now we have the CDU leadership, which is supposed to end in January.
Yes. Also in February, and I'm not going to make some kind of like quiz question out of this because it's just too awful. We have the Hanau attacks on the 19th of February, in which 10 people were killed, 5 people wounded.
Yeah.
In a senseless attack on some shisha bars and I think a kebab shop as well. Was it?
Yeah.
Or just
No, it was a shisha bar and a cafe.
But any good news in February? Maybe for Berliners. Not for you, because you're a homeowner. That's probably why you can't remember it.
The Mietendeckel came into effect.
Yes.
Is that when we had Joel on?
Yeah, I think so.
Dolleroy.
God, was that February?
I think it was the last one we did before the lockdown.
Yeah.
And we had Joel on from Radio Speakhouse. Yeah, like it was a thrilling podcast. I remember that one because he's so well prepared.
I know, and
we were
really trying to get him drunk to see his like kind of crack in his very sort of lucid and articulate facade.
Yeah, because he's so professional.
It just didn't happen. We just looked like chumps.
Because he's so professional. I was just so keen to see if he could still maintain his usual standard.
One Megacan deep.
And he was fine. Didn't ruffle him for a moment. So yeah, the Mietendeckel, that was good.
Yeah. And on the note of us being not as good as Joel, you should check out the Radio Speakhouse Mietendeckel thing, because the saga continues. As a lot of people know, people have got letters in, some people have rents have gone down, some people have, mine has not seemed to have changed. But everyone's like, don't spend save that extra money because it might be overturned.
Yeah,
by the High Court or the Supreme Court or whatever it is next year.
And the other thing is that the landlords aren't obliged. Is this going to be right?
They are now.
They are now.
They have to reduce your rent if it is more than 20% of the Mietendeckel.
But don't you have to complain to them first?
No, now it's like, because that was phase 2 of the Mietendeckel, which came in November.
Okay. Because a lot of people I read have not been informed yet by their landlords whether they
fucking should have been. And if you haven't got a letter from your landlord, get on those bastards.
And there are a lot of channels you can complain to, aren't there? Like the Mieterverein you can go to.
Yes, go join a Mieterverein, which I keep saying to myself for like a year.
Okay, good. So Mietendeckel, that was a good thing.
Yeah. Okay, into March.
Right.
We've got a lot of quotes for March. Are you ready?
Yeah.
This is a fill in the gap. Blank will be decided on the 25th of April. And this is also a hindsight is always 2020 question.
Oh, this is a good question. This is really hard. Blank will be decided on the 25th of April.
Slightly links to one of our stories from February.
Well, the leadership of the CDU. Oh, right. Because they were going to have a conference then.
Yeah.
But then they couldn't because of the coronavirus. Is that why?
Yeah.
And then they were going to have the conference in December and then they couldn't because of the coronavirus. So now they're going to do a remote one.
So now we've just still got no leader of the CDU.
I know. I haven't really noticed, to be honest.
I mean, Merkel's still there. When is she supposed to be going? Because I don't think she can.
No, AKK is still officially the leader. She's not stepped down.
Literally, have you heard? What is she up to? Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
She's still defence minister.
Her and Horst Seehofer just sitting in their wee offices, just pinging those little metal balls. Absolutely not.
Okay.
This is also this is where we start to get into one of the major themes of the year, March. Fill in and also a hindsight 2020. 75% of Germans are not worried about
the coronavirus.
Yes.
75%.
75% in March.
Okay.
And one of those, I'm not even a German, but would you like to hear what I had to say on the topic?
Okay.
We were talking about like people discussing it and it becoming more in the news, and I was going on. And I said, we all play our roles. I'm playing the role of the curmudgeonly cynic. Like, what are you doing? Why are you worried about this? I really hope it doesn't come back to bite me on the ass.
That's direct quote from Megan.
Direct Megan quote. What an absolute cunt. I was an absolute dick.
Well, yeah.
The original Corona Leugner. Oh, God, how embarrassing. Anyway.
Well, it was March. People didn't know. It was just starting then. And then it locked down. Then the lockdown happened in March, didn't it? I remember.
It did. I remember it happened on the 17th of March because I thought to myself, they're closing the pubs on St. Patrick's Day. That's devastating. That was my concern. I would like to point out that I very, very, very quickly, like from one episode to the next, kind of went from...
You were like, oh, yeah.
Oh, is it this really a thing? Like, to going... A man asked me for a Späti beer the other day, and I think that's the worst thing that's ever happened. No. Okay. We also talked in March about, fill in the blank, pretend future...
Money.
Yes.
Why were we talking about that?
I don't know. That's your question.
I think I was talking about... I was offering my theory of the financial crisis again.
Yes. Who's paying for this? Future Germany is going to pay for this. It's a bit like me when I'm drinking heavily.
We were talking about debt.
Aye, yeah, because this was actually quite interesting. The coronavirus.
Yeah, because Germany had to break its debt rule.
We've all had to lower ourselves a little bit dignity-wise, Germany, during coronavirus.
Including
Don't worry
German...
too much about it.
Yeah, the finance ministry definitely had to lower because it's in the German constitution that the debt can't go above a certain level, or the new debt you can't, and then they had to like throw that out because they had to like
it's fucking 2020. Get right.
We need to borrow loads of money to keep all these companies going, and give everyone $5,000 as well if you're a freelancer.
Yeah.
In Berlin. So that happened.
Final quote from March: I would like a T-shirt of
Christian Drosten.
Yes. Christian Drosten's face.
Which you did get. Which
is good because in hindsight 2020, I do not have a T-shirt of his face. Yeah, so Christian Drosten comes on the scene.
Yeah.
What's funny about that?
What's funny about that?
Yeah. We're all obsessed with just a doctor man. He's just a man like looking at viruses through a microscope for 30 years.
But he offered us all, he had such a reassuring voice, and he was always stuck to the facts, And he said, like, I am a scientist. I am not a politician. I don't make any political decisions. I just want to... I see it as my civic duty to inform the public about the scientific position. And he's the head of virology at the Charité Hospital. And he won
a stone cold fox, by the way, guys. Like, he
really
is the sexiest of all hobbits.
Yeah. He also won a prize, like the German equivalent of like an OBE or something, in 2004-5, because he forced discovering or creating a COVID test or a coronavirus test. Like, it's been his specialist subject for decades.
And that's why he's always saying, it's like, it's not just that I am a virologist, it's that I specifically study coronavirus, and that's the only reason that I can do this.
Yeah.
Which, my God, if every other Tom, Dick or Harry with access to, I don't know, could have done that, that would have been nice.
Yeah.
Okay, April. So April is quite funny because we think we're kind of like, at the beginning of April, we're quite like deep into that sort of lockdown. Or so we think. We're deep into this. We've got to April. We're like, oh my God, will it never end?
We were recording.
What did you compare? And certain things, this is not related to German politics, but it's sort of lockdown related. Everyone in my world was talking about this, and you compared it to certain Class A drugs.
If you do something enough.
Yeah. Everyone was talking about this as a means to like manage mental health during lockdown.
Breathing? Mm-hmm. Breathing in.
Who was teaching us all how to breathe in April 2020?
Well, I was learning from Wim Hof.
Everyone was learning from Wim Hof.
Okay, everyone.
Everyone was talking to me about Wim Hof.
Oh, were they?
Yes.
Yeah, I got the app. I got the Wim Hof
Christ,
app.
You didn't tell me that.
He's got an app. And I was into breathing and doing breathing exercises. And it's true. If you breathe the way Wim Hof breathes for a minute, you get really high. And it is almost as good as Class A drugs, I think.
Good. Yeah. So you got the Wim Hof app. Around April time, what other app were we having?
Oh, the Corona Van app, which was just being introduced and which was supposed to use your Bluetooth in your phone to check whether you've been next to near infected people who also have the Bluetooth app and have also told the app that they've been tested positive, which, as it turns out, was a very small number of people.
Yeah. I mean, I've had quite good experience with the app because I have this routine testing as a teacher, which is an insanely great thing that Germany has done, and it's the most efficient thing. And then your results go straight to the app. But apparently not everyone is playing ball, and people forget that if you get a positive test, you need to put it in the app.
Yeah, apparently only 40% do.
But I think that's also maybe people are not being told.
Well, maybe. You'd think if you got the app, you'd also use it.
Yeah, if you have the app and you've been responsible and gone and got a corona test, you'd want to hook those two things up. But I think sometimes people think it's automatic, and it feels like it should be.
Yeah, it should be, but because of data protection laws, it's not.
Oh, Jesus. That was the whole debate, wasn't it? Like, Germans and their data, people on WhatsApp freaking out about corona. And I'm like, on WhatsApp.
You know where all that stuff is automatic? China.
We don't have time to talk about China. China, I mean, it's a whole podcast in and of itself, probably several.
Probably.
To be honest.
All right.
But then towards the end of April, who said death doesn't care about Tempelhofer Feld and why?
Who said it?
Yeah.
Could have been anyone.
Yeah, but who was it? It was someone very special. Who does that sound like?
Death
doesn't care about Tempelhofer Feld. That's a Konrad Werner original.
Oh, it was me?
Yeah.
Oh, I said it. I totally forgot. Blanked it out.
Why do you think you said it? You were quite irate, as I recall.
Because a lot of people were gathering at Tempelhofer. Was I that angry about it? I can't believe I was that angry about it.
But it's not as angry as you get about the build.
I suppose so. I suppose I was angry. Because
it was said with a certain amount of frustration, I think. Apparently, death doesn't care about Tempelhofer Feld. Like, I don't think you were advertising Tempelhofer Feld as an end of April destination.
And I was angry because there were too many people gathering there.
Yeah.
And having big parties.
Yeah, because end of April, we start to head into, numbers are down. We've been really successful. Do you remember those days?
Right,
We were in the international media. What is Germany's secret?
Yeah.
And we start talking about the loosening of restrictions. And here's a fill in the gap. Two big players come into this kind of in the German debate. Mr. Blank and the Blank Bandit. Those are your words.
Yeah, that was the title of one of the podcasts.
Mr.
Bavarian Bandit, I remember that.
Yeah.
I was referring to Markus Söder.
You were indeed.
And who's Mr. Oh, was it Armin Laschet?
Yeah.
But what did I call him?
Mr. Exit.
Mr. Exit. Because Armin Laschet, because they were the two different state premiers, and one of them, Laschet, was much more like let's loosen restrictions.
Let's go crazy.
And Söder was like more hardcore.
Yeah, it was a brief moment in time where I agreed with Markus Söder on something.
Yeah. A lot of people did.
Those were the days. Those were the days. All right, so then we head into May. I'd like you to fill in the blank. This is a fill in the blank and a hindsight is always 2020 quote.
Okay.
I can't remember which one of us said this, but we said, I think Berliners are looking at the numbers and thinking that's like blank, and there's quite a lot of us.
Was it you said that?
That's not the question.
Oh.
It's what's in the blank.
Okay. I wasn't
I
concentrating.
think Berliners are looking at the numbers and thinking that's like blank, and there's quite a lot of us.
That's like blank.
Looking at the numbers. What numbers have we all been looking at?
Well, the coronavirus infection rates, the Inzidenzrate, death numbers.
I can't even actually remember which number it was, but it's 800. And I actually think that might have been the total number of infections in May, the beginning of May.
In Berlin? Really?
Yeah, I think so. Which is understandable. We'll all be like, fucking, yeah.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
And on the day that I was making these notes, which was just before Christmas, the number of new infections in Berlin was...
I mean, a few thousand.
1,318.
Right. We've had over 1,000 deaths now in Berlin.
Fucking hell.
And Germany has gone over 1,000 deaths a day for the first time today. Or yesterday.
Fuck. Oh, that was horrible.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really bad at the moment.
It sort of makes doing a light-hearted quiz seem really fucking horrible. But anyway. Ugh. Gross. Ooh.
Where are we up to?
May.
May, we're still not even at
we
the
just
turn of the
stop?
year.
Should we just do what we'd all like to have done and just stop at 800 cases in Berlin, full stop?
Okay. Are you still on May? How many more pages have you got?
Not many.
Okay.
A few. We're going to go fast.
Okay.
Okay. Who said it and why? They're a very peculiar bunch of people.
Who said that?
You said it.
Oh, I
Why?
said it, but why did I say it? In May.
They're a very peculiar bunch of people.
Can I have a clue? What?
Think about
Could
the
have
kind
been anyone.
of people who, just as the lockdown measures were loosening, even the very non-strict measures we had, what did they... There we go. Now you've got it.
The Querdenker. That's when the Querdenker movement arose, I guess, in
did.
May.
Yeah.
And yeah, they are a very peculiar bunch of people.
Yeah.
And
That
it
was
was
the first
weird.
we heard of them. That was your first take on them. Yeah.
Because there weren't that many. They were like there was a little crowd hanging around outside the Volksbühne, and it was like, oh, they're funny. Look at those funny people doubting the virus and moaning. But within 2 months, there were 40,000 of them, and they were storming the German parliament and making alliances with neo-Nazis.
Yeah. And also like running through Leipzig with wild abandon.
Yeah.
Not so long ago.
No, coughing at people.
Yeah, so that's a bit of a hindsight 2020 quote as well. They're a peculiar bunch of people. That's not the word I would use to describe them now. Neither peculiar nor people.
What would you describe them
I
as?
shan't say this. This is a family podcast.
Okay. So, yeah, the cred anchor. Yeah.
This is a really good one. This is a quote from you. Fill in the blank. The job of the CDU is to make sure Germany...
protects the car industry.
Yeah, keeps making cars. Well done.
That is what, yeah. That's what the CDU does.
Yeah, that's when they were, when everyone is massively struggling and, even before Corona, the environment is terrible. They're really thinking that they need to introduce if you bring in your old car to buy a new car, you got like $2,000 or some absolute nonsense.
Yeah. Yeah, they would. Yeah, that was a big thing.
Yeah. Where would you really not have wanted to be working? Possibly ever, because it's a really, really tough job, but particularly during coronavirus. We've talked about it a few times.
A meat processing plant. There was a hot spot there. That was a really bad time.
I think it really highlighted a lot of how terrible those conditions
Yeah,
are.
That was the whole debate about fruit pickers and everything. Like all these people coming from different countries to work, and then they couldn't come here, and then they said, like, who's going to pick the fruit? And there was going to be they were going to get students to pick the fruit, weren't they?
Yeah, but students don't do shit. You're not going to go and do a job of like a hardworking Romanian person. Are you fucking insane?
Go on then.
Okay. Why was I incandescent with rage? And who with? It's the most angry I think I've been.
Are we still in May?
Aye. Things had opened up. We were allowed to go and do some things. And who took the fucking piss?
Oh, Christian Lindner.
Thank you. What did he do?
He had a little cuddle with a businessman, a businessman from East Germany.
Not even from East, but he was also...
He was like an honorary consul for Belarus.
Again, hindsight 2020. Can you imagine following now what's just happened in Belarus?
Yeah.
How I might have actually gone on a rampage and tried to kill Christian Lindner. So it's a good thing that I didn't know that at the time.
Yeah. There's the Borchardt story. He was outside the Borchardt restaurant. Yeah, that was really annoying.
I can't even make jokes about it. I'm so angry. Oh, this is actually kind of an interesting one and non-corona related. Everyone in the world is covered by...
These are really hard.
Yeah.
Everyone in the world is covered by...
Something that we all knew we were covered by within Germany. But in May, a court ruled that everyone in the world is covered by this.
Oh, the German Constitution. The human rights enshrined in the German Constitution, because because people who are killed by German weapons. I can't remember.
I think it was to do with surveillance.
Oh yeah, that was it. Surveillance. Yeah. Nothing to do with German weapons. It was because...
If only it was to do with fucking German weapons.
Let's get this right. So, if the... I can't remember it was.
I can't. It's terrible because I've recently kind of listened to these things. That's why I have these questions. I'm like,
What was it exactly?
So, basically, it's a bit like they've said, because I think it's basically the Verfassungsschutz, but they're internal, no? So whatever the German one is, you can't just willy-nilly spy on people. You have to have a reason under the German constitution, regardless of where you're doing it.
Right.
Yeah. Let's move on.
We're never actually going to sort this. It's going to take ages.
Yeah, it's going to take forever.
Sort that out.
But let's give you one of your favourite things to hate. Who said I have better things to do?
Oh, Christian Drosten.
Yeah. in response to who? One of our favourite
the Bild-Zeitung.
nemesis.
The Bild-Zeitung sent him an interview request with like a 1 hour's notice, and they like threw all these facts at him and stats, and he's like, I've got better things to do, and he tweeted it. He said, "Look at this ridiculous nonsense. I just got sent this email, and they said I've got to comment on all this stuff, and honestly, I'm trying to do a lot of things here, and you're throwing...
I'm slightly busy,
and you're throwing out of context quotes and stats at me." Yeah, it was really annoying.
What shitty role do you think the Bild has played in this shitty year?
Well, they kind of secretly support the Querdenker, don't they? They keep like undermining the government and undermining... they're still doing it now.
Yeah.
With the vaccinations. They go like, oh, Germany has only got, 500,000 vaccinations, but this old lady gets to go first. Did you know there's a cover? They said this 101-year-old lady gets to go first. And it was all like, why does she get to go first? It was all this sort of finger wagging.
That's like really, and we talked about this in our episode about the vaccine, like, we cannot play queue jumpers.
I know.
With the vaccine. Like, fucking stop it.
But they keep pretending that they're like... It's really annoying because they keep pretending that they're anti-AFD, but they secretly... The way they present their headlines is always just really... Oh, I'll stop talking. Go on. Are we in June yet?
June, yes. We're in June.
Okay.
You said this. Why? I think the German political establishment has been quite taken aback by this.
Really hard questions. Oh, has it? Could
June,
have been anything.
No, there's a big thing. We've only got one story in June, and it was the
taken aback by.
Yeah, and I will give you a quote from
Querdenker.
No, I will give you a quote from one of the German political establishment from Baden-Württemberg, who said, "Germany is not the USA. We don't have."
Oh, I know. The Black Lives Matter.
Yes.
Yeah, there was loads of protests in June.
And what was Thomas Blenker saying there from Baden-Württemberg? I think he's CDU.
Well,
what
the CDU
does Germany
in general...
apparently not have?
They don't have racism. Like that's the CDU position on racism, is that it's a problem in different countries.
Racism within
the police and the armed forces and the security forces in general. Also, the Verfassungsschutz and... Yeah, I mean, it's horrifying. Do
we want to make a quick fire list of all the reasons and even things that we've covered this year that make sure that, mean that quotation is bullshit? How many can you think of?
Scandals to do
just
with
things that disprove the idea that Germany doesn't have a racism problem in the police. Just in case anyone is doubting that, listening and wants to go and research things.
Well, there was all the policemen sharing... Hitler pictures and pictures of refugees in ovens.
That was autumn was just low. Every time you opened a website, it was like, so many officers from the police are under suspicion for basically being a racist right-wing twat.
Yeah. And you ask any person of colour who lives in Germany what it's like, and they all get checked on the... You all go checked on the train. They always it's a common experience.
But isn't there something about with racial profiling in Germany? They won't kind of they were supposed to be doing an investigation into it, and who blocked it?
Horst Seehofer.
Of course he did. What a dick.
He said we're doing a different one anyway, and we don't need to do a new one about this because we're doing a different.
Didn't he also say
study.
Yeah, but that is illegal.
Yeah, he said because it's illegal, it can't exist.
Which exactly was my point. Why do we need the police then, Horst?
Yeah.
If things that are illegal just don't happen, then what the fuck are those people doing?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was a shocking ignorance from the German government on this issue. And it's still continuing.
Yeah, it's bullshit. I have to say, I was a very ignorant person living in Germany. Like, it was good for me to have to, like, go back and look at, like, not just stuff that's happening now and stuff that I was kind of vaguely aware of, like, you know, their failed, botched investigation into all those NSU murders, which completely had racism at the back of it. But also cases like Yuri Jallo and Alberto Adriano that I knew fucking nothing about. Anyway, yeah. Ugh. All right, let's move on. Not much happened in the summer.
Well,
I mean, it did.
What's your next question?
I've just got very short. We're running through July and August very, very quickly.
Yeah.
But I don't think that wasn't much happened, but it was just kind of like a repeat of all the similar themes that were just happening.
Okay.
July, we would have had to join the German army.
Oh. It was me and my brother.
Yes.
Well, mainly me. Mm-hmm. Because, because I'm half German, and when I was 18, for some reason, I had an address registered in Germany.
Fool.
And while I was on holiday at my granny's house, which the address was, I got a letter from the Bundeswehr saying, "Can you show up with your shorts and some plimsolls on for your medical, please? Because we would like to conscript you into the German army." This is in the 90s.
Is it still relevant today?
No, because...
But hasn't there been some debate about, like, should we reintroduce it or do something?
I think there's not really a debate. I think one or two politicians have said, like, maybe we should reintroduce conscription.
You see, this is summer news.
Yeah.
Even in 2020, the news takes a bit of a...
It's just once you've got rid of conscription, you can't really just bring it back that easily. Like, it would take like 5 years to bring it back because they have to set up the whole infrastructure and testing people, and it would just it's too complicated.
We're just not going to do that.
And then no one's going to do it. Yeah,
absolutely not.
But they got rid of it in like 2011, conscription in Germany, not that long ago. But most people didn't do it anyway. Most people did civil service.
Yeah, which still exists, those programs.
Yeah,
but they're voluntary. Okay, August, we're gonna, I went back to school in August, Corona school. We talked a lot then, sort of throughout the thing about
school policy, hygiene measures. Who do all Berlin teachers at the moment hold in a position of high disdain, extreme disdain? Berlin teachers. The education minister, Scheres.
Yeah.
What's her first name? Andrea? Sandra Scheres. Yeah.
Yeah. Just give people more money. Give Berlin schools more money. That's like my entire summation of that. Something else pretty horrifying happened in pretty local news, very local news to me. And I described it as it looked like a fascist state with rows of riot police marching on civilians.
Oh, they closed down the Syndikat bar on Weiserstraße, Schillerkiez.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was just another like, it was a left-wing institution. They did a lot for the local community, and they'd been there for decades, and the local landlord, whoever owned the building, decided, actually, no, I want to kick them out. I want to use it for myself. And the Berlin police obliged, and
like shaking with
and there
rage.
were various demonstrations, and there was quite a lot of violence that weekend. Yeah,
and we also saw that, like, it's not, sadly, I mean, I've chosen to talk about Syndikat because that was like it's an example of all of this, but we've seen this stuff like throughout Berlin, with Liebig 34 as well, where those horrifying scenes of people like literally being dragged from their homes, women being dragged from their homes by riot police. I don't understand. And these are not, like, I understand that not all landlords have huge like property portfolios and are evil and like registered in the Cayman Islands, like the people I pay my rent to. But I don't think these are like individual landlords just trying to make an honest living with like 1 or 2 buildings, trying to like get a squat out or get a bar out.
No, it's a planned. Well,
These are just the big ones, and the police just do it.
And they get police from other states to come and help them. Sometimes, if it's going to be a big operation. Yeah. So that bar's shut down now.
Yeah. That's just horrible. Okay. September. I've only got like a good one for September because something really fun happened. Question. Why are we, as in us and anyone who's been on this podcast, and maybe a lot of listeners, harder than Capital Bra?
Because we can finish a whole Megacan.
Yeah. Who's Capital Bra and what happened in September that was fun?
Capital Bra is Germany's #1 rapper.
Mm-hmm.
And we had our very good friend Maisie on to explain all about German hip-hop in general and rap.
We did. That was so fun. I just want to do that. If you haven't listened to that episode, please go and do it because it's just so fun. October.
Oh, there's more of that story is still happening, by the way.
I have no idea because I was going to ask you. Maybe you know because I would see it sometimes on the U-Bahn, but please tell me.
Well, you know that Bushido is... Abu Shaka is on trial and Bushido is one of the plaintiffs against him.
Yes.
And last
My
weekend...
other quote for September was, I want out, which is Bushido wanting out of his kind of Faustian pact. with Abu Shaka.
With clan boss Abu Shaka. So last week then there was a shootout round the corner from here on Stresemannstraße. You know Stresemannstraße?
Yeah, I do.
And
do I? I'm not actually sure where it is.
It's, you know where the SPD building is? It's just over there. I'm not pointing that way.
Yeah, go.
Opposite Möckernbrücke, leading up towards Potsdamer Platz, that road. And there was a shootout the other morning at 5 a.m. in the morning, and Abu Shaka's brother was injured during the shootout. Yeah, there was a gang shootout. 4 people were injured, 2 people were arrested, and it was all very dramatic.
Oh God!
So that's
a little follow-up.
Gang wars are still going on around here. I live in gangland. I live in the ghetto, the gang ghetto.
You live
I don't really.
in Bergman Keats, my friend. You do not live in the ghetto. Okay, October. Things start to go a little bit more downhill. We quickly escalate from we have some summer. We talked about Deutsch rap. That was fun. Then October hits and it all becomes very serious again.
Yeah.
Why did I say there were 2 pieces of news very much on our topical themes? I said, is it just shite news about where I live today to you on the podcast? What are our 2 major themes?
Well, racism and the coronavirus.
Yeah.
Well, but I can't remember what specifically happened in September.
October. What happens with coronavirus and Neukölln in October?
Oh, it went really
off the
chart.
The chart.
They had to invent new colours on the map because it was like dark red, and then it was like there aren't any darker reds, so they started doing purple.
Purple, is that bad?
Well, because before they were just having like dark reds to show how bad the coronavirus is in certain areas, and Neukölln had the highest incidence rates in the country at one point. But
Jeepers.
Now that incident rate that was we were like really shocked. It was like 100.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
And now the whole country
Wouldn't
is at
even
100.
register.
Yeah.
The other piece of shite news about where I live was when we were on our other major theme about the police being shite, was this report into an investigation on major neo-Nazi crime sprees in Neukölln.
Right. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, that hard-hitting piece of police investigation where fuck all happened.
Yeah, so there a couple of neo-Nazis that were identified. They were like threatening bookshops and small businesses and drawing swastikas on places, and they actually identified them, but they couldn't arrest them because they had no evidence specifically, and it was a bit of a shit show.
Yeah,
I can't remember many more details than that.
No,
but
that's it. That's all we have.
Yeah.
All right, November. This is a quote from I Believe You. We've done exponential squared.
Oh, I said that.
Yeah.
What was I saying? Oh. So we've done exponential?
Yes.
Is when... What's exponential again? It's when things double...
Did you not listen to Mutti Merkel explaining exponential?
It is when the number of infections rise or double in a certain period of time, right?
Yeah.
And then they keep doubling.
Yeah.
And we just were doubling so fast that by November, we had already hit the thing that the number that she had predicted would happen by Christmas, which was 20,000 per day. And we were midway through November and we were already on 20,000 a day.
Merkel warned us in like September, October time. This is what exponential is, you fucking idiots.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, but our numbers are still low. She's like, yes, but they are growing exponentially. This is what that means. And we were like, all right, Merkel. Took the sense of what she said, inversed it, and got to those numbers in half the time that she predicted.
Yeah.
Well done, everybody.
Because we were ambitious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, this is a fill in the gaps. And this is like, I think we're going to start ending on a little bit more of a positive note.
Mm-hmm.
Ish. Did systemic racism almost stop us getting
the vaccine?
Yes.
Yeah. Because the two people who developed the German vaccine, the BioNTech vaccine, one of them was almost not let into the gymnasium when he was a kid.
Because Sagin, I believe. Sorry for my pronunciation there.
Yeah, he told a story to a Turkish newspaper in which he mentioned that if it hadn't been for his German neighbor, he might not have got into gymnasium because his teacher was going to have him put him in Realschule, and his German neighbor said, actually, he's really clever. You should put him in the top school. And 40 years later, he was the first person to develop a coronavirus vaccine.
Oh, fuck. Along with his partner. Or one of them. They kind of... Özlem Tureki. Again, apologies for my pronunciation. All right. Now we're into December.
Good.
We talked about Corona Christmas. We've all had our Corona Christmas now. How was your Corona Christmas?
Quiet, like all the other Christmases, really. I didn't do much. But I wasn't allowed to.
Here. Yeah, you had kind of like a normal setup because your family usually comes here.
Because we're such a small, tiny family.
Tiny German family with an appropriate amount of children.
Yeah, a sensible number of progeny. And
well, thank God, because if you were more than 3 and you wanted to bring partners or friends,
luckily
your mum would have to have chosen.
We have no friends.
Pick names out of a hat.
Yeah. I know. So we had like special corona restrictions, and we're still in the middle of them. And we're just about to have the New Year's Eve restrictions, which are the same.
Yeah, we're out of the halcyon days of the 24th to the 26th of December. Now it's back into lockdown.
Right.
But on the plus side, 27th of December, We started...
vaccinations across
did.
Berlin, across
and
Europe.
who, in the phrasing that I put it, who's Christmas number one? Who's getting it first?
In Berlin? I've forgotten her name.
See, oh.
Do you know her name?
No.
Okay.
I was just talking about the groups. Do you know the actual...
Oh, over 90s.
Yes. Oh, was there actually a... Oh, that's what that horrible man was doing in the build.
Yeah, they did a photo opportunity. She was actually in Sachsen-Anhalt, the very first person in Germany to get it. But then...
That's lovely. That's such a heartwarming story. And that fucking rag wants to make it into some...
And...
Like, fucking hell.
And I believe like about a few thousand people have already had their first injection.
Yay!
In Berlin, and it's only been going 3 days.
That's really exciting.
Yeah.
Like, well done.
Yeah, there are vaccination centres across Berlin now. You can go. Well, you can't go. You have to wait your turn.
Yeah.
But
mine's coming up.
And also we have to wait. You have to wait until they've made enough of them. Because there are engpässe, there are bottlenecks because they can't make them fast enough, and we also need to get another vaccine approved.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, that's it. We're up to date.
That's it.
Cool.
Yeah. I wanted to finish on we're gonna nominate. I have some nominations, and then you can choose who gets it.
Right.
One group of people are going to be nominated for the worst Megacan that we drank all year, or that I drank all year.
Right.
Which was do you remember when we did those gold Kona things?
Yeah, and they tasted of like...
I listened to that episode today.
What did
we
they
described
taste
it as cola bottles mixed with some kind of fuel.
Ethanol.
Yeah, so you can add to any one of this, but you have to kind of choose. Christian Lindner, Johnson. I just put Boris Johnson in there because I'm so angry.
Even though he's not German.
I don't care. He just should be all on the list.
He's a big enough
Put
cunt
Trump
to
in
make
there
it.
as well.
Okay.
The Bild.
Okay.
QAnon / the Corona-Leugner. Nazis. And the police. Do you think we should add anyone?
To people we hate.
Yeah, who's getting the shit Megacan? Who deserves it most?
It's a tough one. What's the first one again?
Christian Lindner. I think we just give it to him because he should know better.
Yeah, maybe
Fucking
because
there you go,
others are
Christian.
idiots anyway.
Have your crap Megacan. All right, so
Christian
then
Lindner.
the other one, which is the Megacan that I was most excited to drink, and I'm having one now, and it is completely delicious.
Okay.
So, people nominated in my mind for a Captain Morgan Mojito. And this is a random sort of list. First of all, I have Christian Drosten, obviously. Second of all, I have Angela Merkel, just because I feel fucking sorry for her, because she's supposed to have had her, as you said sort of to me once, like, her Obama year of like talk shows going on Oprah, la la la, and instead there's this fucking bullshit, and she basically doesn't even have like a replacement to like hand over to. I also wanted to mention the Amadeo Antonio Stiftung, who we had their guest on, Nicholas Potter.
Yeah.
Because they're basically just like out fighting the good fight against like extremismus. I'm drunk now, so I can't speak German. And like monitoring all of that kind of stuff in Germany.
Yeah.
I also had Maisie Hitchcock on there for introducing me to Deutsch rap. And I also had Ugo Sagin and Özlem Tureki for saving us all from coronavirus.
I think Maisie should win.
Yeah, give it to Maisie.
Yeah.
She also really likes Megacans.
Exactly. I think she would appreciate it the most out of those
I think
people.
so. Probably Merkel would be up for it. My life stream, you understand I'm going to make you keep doing this podcast until we can have Merkel on as a guest.
Maybe she will come on after she's retired. What's she got to lose? After next year.
It would be so good.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think...
you finished your Megacan?
I finished like 20 minutes ago. We've been going for hours here.
How long have we done?
I need another one.
It is a long one. I would also nominate you for Megacan for keeping me sane this entire year.
Okay.
I think sane might be a strong word for my mental state.
Well, I can't win it because I'm on the show. Like I've got a... So I think Maisie should win it. Probably.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Are we done?
Is that it?
That's it.
Oh, we just had 2 categories of prize.
That's it.
Okay, there wasn't another...
Winners and losers.
Okay.
Maisie wins. Christian Lindner loses. And actually, I think if there's a polar... Like, that is the spectrum of humanity, I think, really.
Yeah.
Maisie Hitchcock to Christian Lindner.
That's it. Okay.
All right.
The two poles.
Thank you very, very much for listening, everybody, for 2020. Yeah. And guten slide.
Yeah. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Enjoy it. It'll be slightly better, maybe.
Maybe. Fingers crossed.
Bye.
Bye.